Alrighty, we're getting started. Let me get some stuff sorted. I'm at home today, so ignore the messy room behind you. Okay, let's move that over there. I'm streaming on these channels currently. We've got Steam, Twitch, and YouTube. Alright, let's make that nice and big so we can see everyone's comments. Maybe give me a holler on chat if you can hear me all good and everything is coming through alright. Alright, let's just get all this stuff set up. Hello everybody, hello. Alright, let's just get everything set up for a minute. Great music by Lars in the background. Some great stuff. Alright. Let me get my project open and all of this stuff sort of ready to roll. And then we're gonna watch the latest video in a minute, because that's apparently what we do every stream now, is watch the newest dev video. And then talk to you about a couple things, and then we will start working on some caves and some cool stuff. Alright, welcome everybody, welcome. Drink my milk. I have braces, by the way, so if I have a lisp and I talk a bit funny, that's why. I've only had them in for a week, and I actually swallowed one of my braces brackets today. I tried to eat some food that was a little bit harder than because I've just been living off like slop for the past week. But one of like these brackets, like I accidentally swallowed, so now I have like a wire like stabbing into the back of my throat. So that's gonna be really fun. I might not be talking heaps. I might be a little bit more quiet this stream. We'll see how we go. Alright, let's get actually give me 1 second. I'm gonna quickly get something set up. Yeah, I think I'll have to go because it's Sunday, so I'll have to go to the dentist tomorrow and get that fixed. I guess I probably have a little bit of metal somewhere in my body right now. Alright, sorry, the screen's gonna go black for a second, don't freak out. Sorry, I'm just getting another, like, actually, can I just copy this? Oh yeah, I can, hell yeah. Just because I don't have this, I'm only just setting up OBS, like, here at home. So I've just gotta just making a couple little tweaks, little setup changes. Alright. Because last time I did a stream, it was a little bit annoying for people when I was sort of flicking between game views. So now I can do this, and we can just flick between when I work in the scene and then when I like am playing the game. You can like see everything a little bit easier. Alright, cool. That looks pretty good to me. Might as well just get this scene ready to go anyway while we're waiting. How is everybody going this morning or tonight or wherever you are? It's 10 AM in Australia. I don't know what time it is for everybody else. Probably like afternoon, night if you're in America. Ah. Oh, okay. I got a wire sticking into my throat. It really hurts. Just ignore my fingers for a second. Sorry for anyone on the Steam page, like checking out Lens Island, and there's like some dude with his fingers in his mouth, and they're like, "What is this game?" Ah, oh, man, that really hurts. I don't know if I want to show you or not, but there's a wire back there that's stuck out and just like sticking into my gum right now, and it really hurts. Anyway, I'll be fine. I'll get through it. 1 a.m. Oh, geez, Glenn, you're up late. Alright, well, maybe I can help you wind down or wind up, whatever you're interested in, Glenn. Fingers in mouth ASMR, yeah. That's why you're all here, right? Just for the fingers in my mouth. Jeez, all these Europeans in the middle of the night. What are you all doing up? Very naughty. Maybe I should choose a better time to stream to cater for Europe. Saying that, I usually get up at 6 a.m. to stream, to like make it a bit better for everybody else. But it's a little bit later this time. It's 10 a.m. All right, let's pause the soundtrack, and if you haven't already watched, we have a new dev diary went up this morning, a few hours ago. This one.
There has to be a better way,
ad.
because same job,
Sorry,
same
everybody.
pay takes your...
Okay. Yeah, we've got new dev diary sort of just went up, and this one's a pretty cool one because I'm basically asking you a whole bunch of questions, and we're sort of getting your votes for ideas. So there's like two really big things. We'll go through this video, and if you're watching the stream right now and you haven't already left your ideas on this video, comment them, because it'll be really cool to get your feedback, because I'll be going through all of these and counting them all up. And then the second thing, we also just launched a Patreon too. So sure. These are in Australian prices. It's actually, I'll put it to US so it is a bit easier to understand. Where's US? There we go. Cool. So it's basically $5 a month if you want access to all of early beta builds of the game. And it's $15 a month if you want access to alpha, like early testing alpha builds of the game, and then you'll also be in a chat with me and the other developers, and it's basically like a constant line of communication open. So you can just ask us questions whenever you want, and we'll get back to you really quickly, and you can just sort of have a chat with us. So we'll continue trying to add more perks and everything to the Patreon as we go, but for a long time now, honestly, I don't know why we haven't done this so much sooner. For like years, people have been asking us how they can sort of support the studio and just be a little bit closer to development in like an official way. So this is sort of how you can do that now. So it's like we're opening up a beta test, like a beta build of the game in 2 weeks, and we're opening up an alpha build of the game in 1 week. So in 1 week from now, if you have access to this tier here, that's the one that'll basically give you access to the new update we're working on right now in a week. It'll be like super early alpha build. Tons of stuff's going to be broken, filled with bugs, but you can basically just like play the game to your heart's desire and just like go for it and just like break everything, tell us what you hate, tell us what you like, have discussions with us. And then if you are fine just waiting a week longer, you can just get the beta access one, and you'll be a bit more polished build that we've spent a little bit more time. We'll have like another week of updates, and then there'll be the beta build a week after that you can have access to. So if you are like super non-patient and you want early access to the update, but also if like you want to give us like your thoughts, concerns, feedback a little bit more closely, and have like a lot more one-on-one chats with us developers, and sort of I guess help shape development a little bit more particularly, this is the way to do it. Patreon is absolutely the way to do it, and we're going to be constantly sort of like building upon these perks and just trying to make it as like, as much value as possible. Especially with this one, you're basically just in a Discord chat you're in a Discord chat with the developers that we're checking all day. So if you just want to ask us like general questions about game development and life and stuff, I'm happy to answer your questions. If you're like, Julian, how do I set up a game studio? Then I can try and help you out. But yeah, just a quick little PSA for everybody wondering. that's a cool way that we've just launched this literally a couple hours ago. And this is going to be an ongoing thing now for the whole Flow Studio. So any other future games we make and everything, you'll get access to all of them. It's not just going to be Lens Island. But anyway, I'm going to really quickly show this video. What you can just watch it now with me, and then you can leave your comments. Leave your comments underneath this video because I will be counting them all up in a week. Let's make sure you can hear all of this properly.
Hey everybody, it's Julian. Bit of a different video today, but a very important one. This is voting for your ideas to go into Lens Island. Before we get into that, I've got a big announcement. We've made a Patreon that gives you exclusive access to a whole bunch of beta testing perks and early builds of Lens Island and any other games that Flow Studio actually makes. So go onto our Patreon page. We just go through them all and actually implement them into the game. So let's begin. Okay, first vote, cosmetic armor. So we have 3 sets of cosmetic armor currently in the game. We've already made a fishing set, a farmer set, and a sorcerer's set. But we need one more, and we're not sure what to do. So this needs to be armor that you can equip that can have cool abilities and effects that apply onto the player. But it can't have anything to do with dungeon crawling or fighting.
I think the current top pick is pirate armor outside of that. In the comments.
So think up of a cool set, leave your idea down in the comments. And then I guess part 2 of this is we keep calling dungeon crawling armor, and then non-dungeon crawling armor, cosmetic armor. It's all like armor and goes in your armor slots, but it's just like a terrible name. So if you can think of like a better name to call the cosmetic stuff or all of it.
Someone had a comment for armor already. What did they call it? Oh yeah, outfits. Yeah, I like outfits. That makes sense. Like armor. It's like they're all just armor slots, but then you either do like dungeon crawling armor or outfits. I wish there was a term that we could call armor. Like, what does Diablo call it? Like, what is, because like there's games like Diablo where it's not just like metal armor. It's like some of it is just sort of like clothes. What do they call it? But yeah, it's just like I wish we'd come up with a name for armor that just involves everything and doesn't sort of isolate or segment the stuff that isn't strictly like dungeon crawling armor.
Maybe leave your idea for that too. Okay, second question. Cursed dungeons. So cursed dungeons and Lens Island are hardcore.
This is all new footage, by the way. Like, no, we just sort of slipped this into the video, but no one's ever seen this before. This footage. Like, okay, I'll pause it when we get back to it.
Cursed dungeons. So cursed dungeons.
So like this is like an enchanted hammer, and this is like a whole new effect no one's ever seen before. All the weapons have actually been remade, and yeah, you can see I've sort of got them all equipped here. And there's actually like a different sort of player system. You see like Len's wearing a skirt and stuff too. There's a weird purple brazier. There's different icons up here that you've never seen before. All the UI's changed.
You'll be able to repeat every single dungeon.
Yeah, it's just funny that like we just sort of slipped that in just to be like, oh, you know, it's a nice little clip. But there's actually like a whole bunch of Easter eggs of new content in that one little clip.
The game in a new hardcore or cursed mode that's going to be a fair bit harder. The whole dungeon's going to be changed. It's going to look like the Upside Down from Stranger Things. It's going to look crazy.
Guess I'm the guinea pig.
The main thing that we're sort of trying to balance at the moment is how difficult to make the hard dungeons. We can make them pretty hard, or we can make them very hard. The one
are little Easter eggs in this footage. For example, this guy. No one's ever seen a red enemy before. So that's new. That's brand new. Yeah, equipment. I don't mind equipment or like cosmetics. The only thing I don't like about cosmetics is that like it implies that it doesn't have like functionality. That it's just like a cosmetic sort of superficial item. But they do have functionality. Like every single like armor piece in the game has like an actual like effect that's tied with it. So it needs to like feel important and not just like a skin in Fortnite, you know.
Pretty hard, or we can make them very hard. The one sort of issue that I have is like, do we want to make them easy enough where like everyone can complete them, even if you're like a farming style type of player, you don't like the dungeon crawling so much?
Yeah, I can whack you from here. It's like,
is it still achievable for you? Or do we make them like really hardcore where it's a bit more of like a completionist dungeon crawler thing where they can actually like really enjoy the fact that it's quite difficult, more like Dark Souls, Elden Ring type of difficulty?
oh my god!
We're not...
had to put that as my gold clip in there. But yeah, so like, I sort of stopped a couple times through that, but with the new underground dungeons that I'm about to start, oh no, sorry, this is actually separate. I'm about to work on the underground like caves, like the new sort of procedural network today. But what I'm talking about here is like the dungeons, like the OG dungeons in Lens Island. So the current caves or dungeons that you used to be playing that are full of enemies and have, their dungeons. There's going to be a hardcore mode for them, which we've already implemented and sort of currently testing. So you finish a dungeon once, and then you can basically pay a toll of Dark Essence and like curse the dungeon, and then play through the dungeon all over again in this like cursed mode. And then you can get like rare bits of armor and unique items that you can only get inside this cursed mode. But one sort of like I guess like quarrel we have at the moment is just like the balancing of it, like just how hard do we make it? Because the unique thing about Lens Island, because it sort of caters to so many different play styles, it is difficult to balance a game that is like, easy for everybody. Because there's so many people that play Lens Island that come from like Sims and like Stardew Valley and farming games, like slower paced, more casual games, and they just want to chill out. And the dungeons are already like quite difficult for them, and that's why we're including this underworld system. So there's a way to go mining and do all this stuff without being forced to dungeon crawl. But then there's a lot of people that come to Lens Island from dungeon crawlers, and from like roguelites and like they want more intense experiences, which might be lacking. So the hardcore or cursed dungeons are a way to do that. We're just not sure like how hardcore do we make them? Do we make them like quite difficult, or do we just make them a little bit difficult? Because potentially just like they're just hard, they're not crazy. Potentially like that's not enough for the dungeon crawler fans. That's the other thing I'm worried about.
Sure, there's definitely a lot of stuff to do with farming and exploring that can benefit you in the dungeon. So even if you don't like dungeon crawling, you can make the difficulty easier for yourself by being a really good farmer. However, like they will still be really hard. So I don't know, you pick hard or very hard. Okay, vote number 3. This is all about animals and wild animals. So we don't have pets in the game yet, but we're gonna add the very first wild animal, hopefully in the next update. Right now we have 3 animals on the backlog: a deer, a goat, and a sheep. So we're just going to start with one. There's going to be many more animals in the future, but which do you want to be the first one? This is going to be a wild animal that will spawn in little packs across different islands across the game. You will be able to hunt it, get some sort of resource from it, and potentially keep it as a pet and actually sort of trap it as well. Question number 4. This is all about fishing and the ocean. So we're going to add one more new type of sort of ocean creature into the game in an update soon. Not the next one, but the next one after that. And we're not sure which is the first one we should add. So our 2 options are
Sorry, no sound. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, so I was just about to say it's a good point. Like from Vane, let me get back to where I was in the video. Um, it's a good point from Vane. Like make the amount like scale based on Dark Essence. That was one of our original ideas actually, and I'm thinking probably the best way to approach it is like we just have our first shot at what what of your voice is doubled. Oh man. What's happened now? Okay, let me Hello. Is my voice normal or is it weird? I mute my mic once and then it goes crazy. Hello, testing, testing. Is it all good now? I think it's good, right? Oh, okay, maybe it was on your end. Cool. Jeez, you're freaking me out, Cody. I'm thinking there's something, a code red. Alright, we're all good. Sorry. I'll get back to what I was saying. Yeah, the Dark Essence scaling. I think what we'll do is we'll have our first shot at like the difficulty for the hardcore dungeons. I keep saying hardcore. I should say cursed. They're cursed. We'll have our first go at it, and then depending on the feedback, then like later when we have a little bit more time in a future update, then we can add like a scaling to it. So you can like sort of choose like how much dark essence you want to sort of put in, and then there's like maybe like 3 or 4 levels of different like difficulty scaling that you can sort of decide depending on what you want to do. Um, that's that's one idea. It's just going to be like a lot of work. The only sort of issue is like for us devs, we have to make like 4 different separate like 4 different separate like difficulties, and like layouts for every single dungeon in the game, because the way that we're making dungeons hardcore isn't like the quick and easy way that I don't say quick and easy way, but it's not the normal way that is definitely easier that every other game does, where it's just like numbers just scale up. Like we are quite literally remaking the dungeon. So all of the enemies we all hand place, and we rebuild all the encounters. We actually change parts of the dungeon and add like blockages and other little components that make it harder and more difficult. Like we actually put in a lot of effort to like completely rebuild the level to make it a bespoke, like unique experience. So doing that, like 100 times is like heaps of work. So it's sort of like a bit of like a to and fro. All right, we'll just get through the rest of the questions in this video, and then I'll start working on the new caves.
And the ocean. So we're going to add one more new type of sort of ocean creature into the game in an update soon. Not the next one, but the next one after that. And we're not sure which is the first one we should add. So our 2 options are, do we want to add large crabs and crab pots? So you can actually like cast out a crab pot from a boat and sort of like set it up as something that you can put bait in, and then come around later and then sort of take up the crab pot, check what's in it, and then put it back down.
I like the crab pots.
Or do we want to add large squid, where you can get these rare fishing pools with squid in them? You can catch the squid and then make squid ink from the squid and use that in crafting resources. So we've got crab pots on one side, and I guess crabs, and then we've got squid and squid ink on the other side. Final question.
You gotta do it quicker.
Okay, final question, and this is all about decorations. So we're going to add 3 more decorations in one of the next updates. There's going to be a lot more in the future, but just for the first 3, which should we add? Because we know a lot of you really, really love building, and I could think of 3 random decorations to add myself, but it's probably not going to be what all of you guys actually want. So pick your top 3 decorations, any idea in the world, everything's free range. Pick anything you want, and basically the 3 most commented ideas across everybody's comments are the 3 that will go in the game. All right, that.
Can we just take a second, everybody, just to appreciate that pool shot? Let's rewind it. Just have some silence. Let's just watch this pool shot.
Everybody's comments are the 3 that will go in the game. All right, that was. I did not.
That was pretty good. That was a pretty good pool shot.
Okay, that's it for the questions. You have a 1.
All right, I won't bore you with the outro. But yeah, so if that was really hard to watch because I was pausing the whole time and talking over myself, you can rewatch it again. And yeah, just leave a comment. You can leave a comment here in the video. You can also leave a comment on like Steam as well. I made a Steam post about it. Play the Oscar. Look, you're really flattering me. All right, look, I'm only doing this because Oscar wants the pull shot in slow motion. All right, this isn't me. I'm just doing what the people want. 0.25. You reckon that's slow enough? All right. Oh, look at that. Look at that airtime. Okay. No, this is getting ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna start developing. So leave your ideas, leave your answers to those questions in the comment section. Give it a like, all that jazz, and then we have the Patreon set up. Okay, that's enough updating on what's going on new. Let's chuck the soundtrack back on. Get some nice music in the background. Let's work on some caves. If I have to turn down the music a little bit. Hello. Welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I know these streams are just like totally sort of like random days and random times. Maybe for everyone watching, like leave a comment for like what's the best day? Like what's the best day for you to watch a stream? Because that's one thing. I need to try and work out some sort of regular schedule as far as like which day to consistently stream each week, because I want to make sure that I sort of pick a day that generally works for people. So maybe let me know. But yeah, we're working on the underground today. I think I might turn down just a little bit more. Okay. And I'll swap my screens around. Let's get this scene view up here. Cool. So, we're working on caves. I'm going to really quickly show you how these procedural caves work before I start making them. Just so some of this makes a little bit more sense. So, I have a little scene open here. Is this... Yeah, cool. So, if I literally just play the game, let me just get my player in the middle of the world so we don't start falling through the void. Just wait for Unity to load. Cool. I need to get one of those chat, like the things that like scroll the chat on the stream. I don't even know what that's called. Anyone here know what that's called? Like, do you know when you say streamers and they'll have like the chat like scrolling like actually on the stream so you can like see what you say? I need to get that. Someone tells me what that is, I'll try even set it up right now. I think I got an error. I chose a bad time to do some testing. I got a nice little error. Alright, I won't bother. We'll build some zones out first. But basically, so what we're working on today is like the cells that make up the cave system, right? So I'm building like the basic structure of all of these sort of cells at the moment. So if I like get this guy, so all these cells are basically like 64 by 64 cells, and then they all sort of connect. So, for example, these are just a couple. So the cave's in like different levels. This is level 0. So imagine that all of these are like X's, and they sort of connect to each other like that. These ones are straight, and they connect like that. These ones are T's. They connect like that. These ones are... What are these ones? T's. I'm so confused now. No, maybe these are T's. No, these are T's. These are T's. Those ones are T's. These are just like little bends. What are these ones? Oh, these are X's too. Yeah, right. That makes sense now. So these X's, they're entrances. That's like where you come down from the above world. And then straights, X's, T's, and then bends. And all of these basically like go like this and all sort of like connect to each other in like a cool sort of modular way. So I'm like building out a whole bunch of these sorts of pieces. I'll quickly actually... Let me try to just like populate the world one more time, because I can actually just show it all like properly procedurally generating. I was literally working on this last night, and I think I broke something right at the last minute, which doesn't help any of you. So I'll quickly see if I can just fix what's broken. I think it's just like a I've got a wrong name for an asset somewhere. B, 2A. Yeah. Yeah, they look good to me. Let's have a look. I'll just play and we'll see. It'll be so much easier if I just get this bug sorted now, because then we can just I can constantly just be generating the world as we build out some of these cells. I'm probably going to be streaming for like quite a while today, by the way. So yeah. Just have to wait for Unity to do its thing. I thought it'd just be able to load. I thought it'd be able to load straight away. There's something I'm missing. I thought it was all. I'll just try. Yeah, I'll try play through the main menu. See if I can get this fixed real quick. The fun of game development. I feel like half of game development is just waiting for stuff to load. I'm gonna make that call right now. 50% of my time every day is waiting for like this. So if someone can come up with a way to get rid of loading, that would be handy. Oh, you guys, oh, you can't see. There's a loading bar right in the middle of my screen right now, but you can't actually see it because I got it on like window mode. But right here, there's a loading bar. I've been waiting for 40 seconds. Oh, I tried to play the game again. Right. Okay, I'm just gonna play the game to the main menu. So you guys are probably gonna see a whole bunch of stuff that you've never seen before, which I'm probably showing you too early, but that's all good. I just need to see why this thing's broken. If it's too annoying to fix, I'll just ignore it. Start new game. You didn't see all that. Just pretend you didn't see that, because that was a whole bunch of stuff. You may have, if you quickly got a glimpse, that was the updated Len model, and that was updated clothing, updated everything just then. It's just Unity, yeah. PC specs really don't affect it at all. It's like the compiling of all like the scripts. Like if you can imagine, like Unity's like pretty quick and pretty like efficient as a game engine when you have like smaller projects. But yeah, when you have quite large projects, it starts to struggle a bit. Basically document everything to do with development. Yeah, effectively, Henry. We have the game Lens Island, which is our first release, which I'm currently working on right now, and you can basically go back on this channel's history and find the very first dev diary where I started working on it. Was just two little like capsules jumping up and down, and then now it's currently released in early access and you can play it, and it's been very successful, and we've now built out a full game studio off the success of Lens Island. Oh cool, we found the error. Oh okay, no, they're different errors. Cool. All right, let's just run across to oh, 1 second. Let's just run across to a cave. Oh, the map's also different now. That's another thing. Oh man, there's so much new content in this update. It's honestly insane. Like there is so much new stuff. I just keep forgetting all the new things. The whole map is now a live feed of the map, and it fully updates. So all of your buildings and everything that you do shows up in the map now, and it's all live updating. And there's a map for the underground as well. Like there's so many just like casual little features like that that we've just like thrown in for this update that I keep forgetting about. Yeah, we've been working on it for a while. It's been a long time coming. In case you're wondering, the soundtrack in the background is album 2 of the Lens Island official soundtrack. You can find on Spotify, or you can buy Lars. You can also purchase it on Steam as well. Cool. All right, now. Yeah, so we're not getting any. It's the same thing. Like, I'm not getting any. Still loading in sync mode. Just gonna see if I can really quickly work out the issue here. Annoying for me, it's the weekend. All of our programmers are not currently yeah, so it's just like a let's have a look. Let's see if I can quickly. Yeah, so all the cells are loading. Alright, let me just check one thing real quick, and then we'll go back. Oh, did it hit play again? I think my mouse is getting low on battery. Actually. Oh, you got some batteries? Thank you. My batteries are running out of my mouse. Oh. Yeah, it's gone now. Oh. Alright. Sweet. There we go. Let's see if it works here. I don't think it's going to. Yeah, I didn't think so. Cool. I'm just gonna get straight into it then. I'm just gonna start making some cells. I think we introduced a bug. Or, yeah, either I did it or someone did it. Just on Friday before the weekend, so the world's not loading. So I'll just make the cells individually. I just can't, like, I can still do everything I need to do today. I just can't test them as well. That's all. I'll just have to manually test them. That's fine. Ah, my Unity's got like some sort of bug at the moment where every time I stop hitting play, it keeps like hitting play, like it keeps stopping and starting instantly. I'm like stuck in an endless loop. Oh, this is the worst. Alright, let's start making some caves. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to detail. What one? Maybe this one. So I'm basically just at the moment, I've got like some basic cells, like some basic like chunk cells, whatever you want to call them, set up for the very first layer or level of the caves, level 0, which is sort of like the entrance level. And I've just got like super basic layouts at the moment, where they're just sort of shapes. But then what I'm going to do now is start going through all the basic cells that I have and just start detailing, like doing like a very first pass. A sort of detail, plus just making them a little bit more interesting, I guess you could say. Like here, I'm just like lowering this section because all of them are pretty flat. So I've just done a very first sort of like flat pass on them all. So now it's like cool. Now I start introducing like more sort of bespoke elements and everything's trying to sort of make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah, go from there. I don't like that how that sticks out. Same with that. I think we could probably do something here. We blend this a little bit nicer. Definitely the game is me. You can see crows, seagulls, and flames. Oh yeah, thanks, Luke. Yeah, sometimes there are some sounds that get through, but I'll literally leave a note for that right now, to be honest. We've definitely fixed that in the past, but there might be, yeah, it looks like there's probably some sounds that have slipped through. Let me add a note on my task list about that. Alright, Luke, I added that bug straight to my to-do list. I'll leave that for now. So yeah, I'll quickly explain the way that this works. So imagine this cave, like this whole underground system, is built up. There's different levels. So let's call it, this is level 0, and then we'll have level 1, level 2, and then level 3. So then level 0 is stone and coal, and it's basically built out of dirt. Like it's all like looks like dirt. Level 1 is where you get iron, well, like all the above, you know, stone, but like the new resource is iron. And that's where it starts to look like the current caves all built out of stone. Level 2 is when you start to get titanium, and it starts to go more like sort of sandstony in parts. And the level 3 is where you find lightstone, and that's where you get a lot more lava. So it's like, imagine I'm basically building the tile sets. So this is like the very, very basic set of tiles for level 0, and then there's a set of tiles for 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then all the tiles all sort of jumble together and sort of procedurally generate. So we have like heaps and heaps of tiles, but right now I'm just building at level 0. I'm going to start working on level 1 in a minute. I just want to start, you can see we have these other tiles here, which are more like sort of bespoke, interesting tiles that we're all sort of concepting. But these are the ones that are actually, this group on the right are the ones that are actually sort of currently in the generation. I wish the generation would work. It'd be a lot easier to show all of you what I mean. But yeah, so it's like, you know, we've got a cool little ravine area. So what I'm sort of doing now, it's like all of these tiles are really sort of basic. The shapes look really good. Like when they all sort of fit together, they create like these really natural forms. So that's sort of what I've been focusing on. Like if I, you know, just get a whole bunch of these tiles and were to sort of like distribute them, you can see they create these really nice natural patterns where you can't really spot the joins. Like they look like they all sort of belong. But right now they're all just like flat and basic, just like flat basic dirt. We've got a couple of little like interesting things. So for example, these are just like, this is just like a really crappy sort of like white boxing thing. But these areas where like you can't stand on this, like you'll die. You'll get hurt if you stand in this area, but you can build over this area. So this is basically like a building challenge where it's like, because you can build in this level, so you can build a row of foundations or whatever and like, you know, get across this gap just by building. So if you ever see these little spike pits, that's where you can build across, and it's sort of like a, you know, a way to get across. There will still be some repairable bridges that you just like click on and repair with other resources. You don't have to necessarily build the whole thing yourself. Here's actually a keystone. So this is actually the exit of the first, on the spawn island, where you light that keystone underground. This is where that is now. This is the cell that it's a part of. That's what it sort of looks like. So yeah, just want to introduce a little bit more level, a little bit more variation for some of these things in the moment. I don't want too much for this level 0. I think we'll start to get a lot more undulations and different sort of stuff when I get into level 1, and let's have a look what we've got for level 1 though. Let's take a look. Because basically what we're doing at the moment is our designer Justin has made like probably like 50 different cave cells. He's like taken parts of our old cave system and started like white boxing them and built them as like little cells for the procedural generation. And then now I'm starting to go through them and like refine them and sort of tweak them. And then I'll have to properly detail them and do all the polishing and everything. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. And we've got heaps of entry cells. Heaps and heaps and heaps. Okay. So these are the little endpoints. Basically just putting out all of the current little work in progress sort of testing bits that we've made all in one big sort of row here, so I can just start to get an idea of what I'm working with. So these are all the T-joins. The T-joins are gonna go here. Oh, these are oh no, these are the T-joins. I'll go through them all with you. We'll pick our favorites, and then we'll start refining down our favorite ones. Man, there's heaps. Man, there's so many T-joins. Justin went... Oh no, these are joint X's now. Cool. Didn't even realize. So build is the first one. So they go here. Alright. And then we've got our straight. You'll be able to find like the auto miner that's currently on the desert island, and there's also one in the town. They're going to be removed, and you're going to find them down in the underground now. The actual like mining outposts. And you may notice as I'm placing some of these down, some of them have water in them. You will be able to use a boat down in the caves. There will be little bits of water, and you can actually yeah, boat across those bits of water. Okay, so now we've got our turns. Which are all turning the wrong way by the looks of it. No, it's just that one. Okay, man, that took forever. So, here is all of our level 1 cells. You can see there's obviously a lot more level 1 than level 0, but I'm going to be culling these down a lot. All the entrances are all just sort of generic, like they're going to be completely redone. All we're really focusing on in these, we're trying to find our favorite general structures, and then start to sort of refine them and build them out a little bit. So I think the first thing I'm going to focus on is just building like the generic sort of set of tiles. So like for example for the dirt, there's these tiles and you can see they're just like super basic, there's no challenges. So I'll do the same for the level 1, is I'll just build a basic set of tiles that aren't going to be too crazy. There naturally will be more like obstacles and building challenges and just like stuff in your way as you go deeper through the cave. So there might be a little bit more, there might be a couple of challenges in these, you know, default set of tiles, but they're going to be relatively basic. So let's pick, so what's the default one for this? Yeah, I think this one's probably like a good base layout for the default one. This one here. So I'll move these two down. Let's start with that one. Default tile. I do like this, like with the cliffs, because this is another building challenge, right? Like you're sort of like one-way cliffs that you have to sort of get up or down. That's going to be like an encounter room, like a bunch of like. This one's pretty cool as well, actually. This is actually taken from another part of a level, but I've always liked this little fishing pool. But that we'll keep, like, that's for sure going to be in there. It'll just be a special part. Okay, so I think that's a good one for a generic basic tile. So what's that? That's a. What type of. That's a T-join. No, that's an X-join. That's a cross-join. Gotcha. This is a T-join. Ooh, I'm really... Oh, I don't know. I don't know between these two. I do like how we've got another cliff, but this one obviously is to take it for another cave area that already looks sort of cool. I think I might. Oh, I'm trying to just think. I really do like the cliffs though. Like the cliffs are really cool. I think it's a cool idea for like Is procedurally generated cave something that you need to create a new world to experience? No, actually. So this whole update and all the stuff you're seeing, this will not require you to reset your save file. All of this will just work. I honestly suggest that you just start a new game though. Like we're going to sort of suggest to everybody you should probably start a new game because we've rebalanced the whole game, we've rebuilt the town, like the whole experience of Lens Island is different again, and like better. Like we're just constantly making the whole experience better. With every single update, we improve the whole experience. I suggest you start a new world, but your whole world will be the same. It's all going to be good. The only thing that will sort of change is that like you might get like some bits on the islands and stuff will be changing a little bit. So you might have a house somewhere where like a mine shaft entrance like pops up in the middle of your house and looks a bit weird. That's the only stuff that's going to happen in this update. Otherwise you'll have full access. Yeah, it's sort of like a sub-room sort of Jimmy Trash. So like the way that we do our procedural generation in Lens Island is what I think is like the perfect form of procedural generation. We hand build little like chunks, like little bits, and then they all get procedurally generated and connected with like a lot of like very smart algorithms that joins them all together. So that way like you're in a world that is unique and random to everybody, but then it's built out of like hand built components. Like I sit there and drag every little rock and tree and like build it all manually. So you get to be in this world that feels like it's handmade by a developer and looks like it's handmade by a developer. But then it is still random. So it's sort of like, in my opinion, the best of both worlds. Yeah, we're trying our hardest, Green, to like to sort of make it so that the updates, you know, are sort of accessible for everybody, and we don't force people to, like, you know, roll back save files or crop their data or anything like that. We're trying our hardest to make sure that the game sort of is seamless in the updates. We were forced to do it with the Uncharted Waters because we just rebuilt the whole game, but we're going to try not to do it again to make it so your save files don't work. We'll try our absolute hardest to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. Oh, this one's so cool. Alright, let's start with these. Super basic, just straight cell here. Let's steal one of these. I don't know if I've ever like talked about this before, but it's pretty insane that all of our cave levels, like all of them, are built out of this one single asset, like this one single 3D mesh. Like let me quickly like go back. Like all of these, like the entire shapes and floors of all of them, every single one, like 99% of the assets that you're seeing here is just like this one singular cliff that I made like a bunch of years ago. And my goal was like, I'm gonna make one little cliff piece that has like the perfect shape that you can make any shape you want to out of it. Like, and you can sort of, what I did is like I made it like a dome. So the mesh sort of goes like this, and it goes flat, and then it goes back down. So then you can sort of like oh, actually you can't see me drawing, I don't think. But like it's sort of, if I go to like an orthographic view, you could see the meshes like merge into each other. So you can push them inside of each other like that, and then they like seamlessly join, and you get like these really nice joins where you like, you know, if you do it right, you can't really notice that they're joined. Like they just look like one cave piece. And it's just really funny that I just sort of like casually made this like a few years ago. I was like, yeah, that'll be pretty cool. And then now it is literally just like, this is the bedrock of our entire game. So I'm just going through replacing all of these and just making sure they're all like perfectly, you know, set up and positioned and everything. Because I'm basically going through all these areas now and just setting them up sort of for real, like turning like a initial sort of concept of a white box into like a more final design for a level. So step number one is just getting the overall shape with all the cliffs and everything in first, and then go from there. But yeah, like we've always been super creative with the way that we use assets in Lens Island. Like I've tried to use as little assets as possible in a lot of circumstances, and just try to be very, very smart with the way that we sort of use them in our levels. Where it's like all of our rocks and everything, all the cliffs and everything, are just made out of like not the rocks that you like, not the sort of the floor pieces that you're seeing now, but the rocks that sort of look like rocks, sort of scattered around a level. I have like basically, you know, 2 or 3 rocks, and I just combine them all into like really sort of unique ways to make every single type of rock face and pattern and cliff wall and everything in the game. So make a little end section here. You could do some mining on, and then we'll make it, yeah, we'll make it drop down to sort of lower region, and then we'll go back up on that side. Trick is here, like I'm trying to create like areas that have plenty of room for gameplay, feel natural, but then are also modular, right? Where it's like, this cell or this chunk that I'm building right now, I have to expect that it could appear like, you know, 10 times in your cave, and you have to like not know, like you have to not know that it's, you know, spawned in more than once. That's not be obvious at all. So it's like really tricky trying to create sort of modular levels like this that sort of trick you, that don't look repeatable. That's like the key. It shouldn't look like it's repeated at all. But it has to be modular. So like it has to like fit together, but then not look like it's fitting together. We use like a combination of some different stuff for the cave generation movie. Like we use oh god, what's the algorithm called again? It's like one of the most common generation algorithms, but we have like a weird adaptation on it. So I forget the name of the algorithm. It's like a common maths algorithm that people use for pathfinding. That's like the basis of like a lot of it. But then, yeah, like a lot of this cave generation is like really specific. Like we're basically just developed our own sort of algorithm to sort of make it work. If I can remember the name, I will say it. It's cool. I like that little hole. I don't like areas like this, because if you're looking from this camera angle, you could like fall down there and not really see it properly. I might have to just add in a little padding, like a little landing pad sort of thing, just in this little corner, so it just has some slightly better. Yeah, see now you're not going to fall down and not see where you are. Because that's the work. Because like this whole thing's going to be able to like work from any rotation. So I have to make sure that all the different camera angles like sort of look good and function well. Cool. I like that for an overall layout. I think that layout works well. Actually, I'll do a first pass of some cliffs while I'm at it. I'll just steal these cliffs. This is what I was talking about with the rock assets. So like all of these cliffs, I'll turn off the grid for a second. All these cliffs you can see, this is just one cliff. So this is just this one asset, and I just like skew it and rotate it and just scale it in weird ways. And then that's every single rock cliff you see in the entirety of Lens Island is just the one mesh, just rotated in different ways. Like, you know, this like little like overhang, it's just an upside down rock pile. Like I try to be super efficient, so pretty much all of the rock formations you see ever in the game is basically like 2 or 3 assets most of the time. I think we only have like 5 rocks in total. Wanted to get these as sort of like a little template to work from, just because I'm basically going to make it so like the cliffs are sort of the rocks like trimmed with these cliffs. Could maybe use like the light cliffs though, and not yeah, I got an idea. These. Oh, I should have made prefab variants. That's alright. Yeah, it definitely saves us some designer cost. Like when you're like a tiny little indie team making a gigantic game, you gotta do everything that you can to try and like cheat the system and make it a little bit easier for yourself. The hard part is, like, I just have the highest standards, like, with everything in life. But, so that, like, often makes us run into issues because my standards are just so high all the time. We just end up taking way too long and we just end up, like, overcompensating for a lot of stuff that we add into the game. You know, like, a lot of the game could have just, you know, looked slightly worse or been, like, the tiniest bit worse, but then taken half the time to build. But I just can't help myself from like making something subpar, even though I'm like most of the time I'm sort of comparing myself or comparing like us as a studio to the best games. Like I'm you know, like when I think about making Lens Island, I don't think, oh, let's just like do like an okay game and make something that's okay. Whenever we're working on Lens Island, it's like we need to make the best game. Like, you know, this has to be the new Valheim, the new Minecraft. Like, it has to be something new that people haven't played before that is going to be truly special and groundbreaking and different. So it's like we have to compare ourselves against studios with tens or hundreds of millions of dollars and hundreds of staff. And there's like, that's it. So yeah, I guess the pressure's on, but that's just the way I like to live my life, I guess. But it's definitely not, we don't make it easy for ourselves doing that, but oh well. So yeah, like these caves are naturally going to get like darker and rockier as they go down. So like the level 0, the entrance areas of the caves were all dirt, and then now I'm going to now they're sort of like merging into stone, and then they'll go into like more lava and more rocky, and they'll sort of change as they go. See, like this cliff blends in a little bit more. The one, oh, the one actually thing I'm thinking about, because I want to be really obvious when you sort of go through the different phases of the caves. However, the only issue I'm thinking of right now is if I get this cell and drag it like here, for example. I'm using the dark rock next to the dirt, and you can see that it's a bit weird that rock would get lighter as you go down to the caves. It would probably be the opposite, like it sort of gets darker. Which means if I wanted this to stay light, these should all be light, probably. What does that look like? If I just quickly go like this and go... Oh, I'd have to actually go into the prefab. Yeah, let's see, I'm not sure what this is going to look like. Oh, maybe it looks alright with the lighter rock. I'll have a quick run around in game. Let's have a look. Because I want the case to sort of be... Oh, I think I actually sort of like that. I want the case to sort of get like, you know, darker as they go down, obviously. But I'm just worried like there's too much contrast between the dirt and then the lighter stone, because the dirt is quite dark. That was the only thing I was worried when I was actually building it. I'll swap my screens around. Like I was just worried about sort of this stone color being too bright for the dirt color, and there's like too much of a contrast between the two. But I don't really think it makes a big difference. For example, that's that, and then that's the dark. Like you don't even really notice a difference between these two, practically. Like these two colors here. Like it's definitely a little bit lighter, but I don't think it makes enough of a difference to where it's like a problem or anything. Because if I keep this, what my sort of thoughts are for the overall like aesthetic changes of the caves, if I quickly, it's basically, it goes from like light stone and dirt, and then in like level 0, and then level 1 it will go to like this stone here, like normal stone, and then this will be the same stone color, but then this thing will change, so that's different. And then when you go to level 2, then it'll be the same stone color still, so this will be the same, but then this trim stone will get to the darker stone. And then when you get to level 3, then we'll start to introduce lava, and then like the whole floors will be darker and stuff. So it just like slowly gets darker and darker, and like some different assets, like the biomes slowly sort of shift. Okay, I'm going to really quickly go to all these level 0 cells and just switch out all of their rocks to the lighter rock, because I think that's more appropriate. And then I can build these next cells I'm about to make with the lighter rock too. I've got this really handy prefab replace tool that I added, and I love it. Cool. Then we just got this one. I think that's all the rocks. Yeah. Save. What will happen with the light posts that have been activated? Oh yeah, so we're actually making the light, like the lamps that you light in these procedural caves, like even more common. So you can actually see there's a few of them here. There's 4. There's 4. Like there's 1, too. So there's going to be like, they're going to be a lot more frequent throughout the caves, and they will stay lit forever. They'll have the exact same mechanics as before, except they're going to be like, they're going to really help you sort of light your way through the caves and remember where you have been before. So they're generally going to be like just a lot better and have like a lot more sort of be a bit more usable in this next update, which is cool. Place them. Could you blend the dirt? Yeah, like we could blend the dirt and stone with a shader. Again, like some of my methods around level design is like trying to keep things as simple as possible to sort of build. And I guess part of the aesthetic of Lens Island is like a lot of like sort of like clean forms, like a lot of like clean lines like this, and you don't get too much of like this very like these patchy sort of blends where there's like you know, little bits of dirt and all this refuge, and it's all like a lot more detailed and sort of noisy. Like a lot of the lines and sort of forms and shapes are quite clean and easy to sort of identify. So that's, I guess, like part of the thing that I'm also trying to avoid, is like sort of I'm trying to keep within the style guide of the game as well. Okay, so I'm going to have to replace all the rocks for this cave entrance too. So nice being able to play music on stream on Spotify and not get copyright striked because it's our own music. It's awesome. Sweet. Okay, I think that's all the rocks and the zero replaced, so now I can get back to... Any thoughts on the minimap? Yeah, okay, Michael, there will be a map for the caves. So that's something we agreed was needed if we're going to have like a larger procedural cave system, is a map. So the dungeons will stay the same. The dungeons that you're used to sort of exploring now on Lens Island, they won't have a map. They will be a little bit more generally like hardcore, a bit more combat focused, a little bit sort of harder to sort of get your way around. But these caves, these procedural cave system, consider it like the underworld of Lens Island, there will be a map. So there's a whole, like the normal map you're used to using, there's like 2 levels of the map that you can switch between, like the above world and the below world, and they both like meet up. So if there's like a cave entrance on an island and then like another island over here, like they actually meet up between the underworld and the overworld. So you can see like a cave system and how it joins to like the above islands. And then the whole map is all dynamic now. So the map actually shows all of your building and all of your structures and all the stuff that you do to edit it. It all live updates on the map. And you can build in these cave systems. This whole underground cave system you can build anywhere. Full free building. Alright, yeah, let's go back to these cliffs that I was doing. Screen to train out lots of small objects. Take yeah, generally speaking, Moofy, yeah. Like you want to sort of if you ever played Minecraft, how there's like they have chunks and you know there's like a radius of like the world that's loaded that sort of follows you around. That's sort of the only like that's sort of how you have to have you know big open world games is you have sort of like you know portions of the world that split up into cells and it just sort of loads and unloads around the player. Because if you imagine, if you can imagine all the stuff that's sort of like loaded, that's all like sort of sitting in your memory in the computer. So if you load the entire world of like 10 kilometers or something, you have, you know, a 10-kilometer world just chilling in your memory, which is heaps, you know. So it's like that's like a really oversimplified way of saying it, but yeah, it's better for performance to split it up. So I think my mic keeps cutting out. Mic might be a little My mic might be a little bit lower quality now. You maybe let me know if it's too bad. It's just it's gonna be way easier to have it all wireless instead of wired. But yeah, if the mic sucks, if it just got considerably worse, let me know. Or if you don't notice a difference, then sweet. Sounds just fine. Sweet, good to know. I don't love that cliff placement. Let's skip to the first album. Let's go back to first album. Oh, main theme. Whew. I don't know if I'm ready to listen to the main theme. It's pretty intense. Let's do it. Maybe I'll give us a little energy boost. Alright, cool. That's I'm just gonna leave that till for now. I don't wanna go too deep into it. This one's gonna be interesting. I would love to make this work with all rotations, but I think I'm gonna have to make it work with just these two. Because the way that because like the camera, right, is like locked, we have to really consider like what way that it's rotated. So some of these cells can work at any rotation if it's like a bit more flat, but if they are like this and have cliffs, you know, if they're like this, it's sort of gonna suck. You know, you can't really see what you're doing. So we have to sort of make them so they can only possibly spawn in at like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 rotations. But I think this one would work just fine. I'll just drag over the player so we can see what we're doing. I think this one should be able to work just fine with two rotations. Yeah, so we're sort of like sight onto that cliff. That's perfect. Just like drag the player up a little bit. So that's rotation 1. And then if I go 90 degrees, this will be minus, this will be 270. Oh right, no, okay, that's 0. Right, so it'll be 0 and 270. 0, 270. Oh, it's already at 0 and 270. Oh, cool. Okay, that's good to know. Alright, so I just need to make sure that, yeah, it works. So, like, nice sort of ramp. I'll improve this ramp going down, and then here there'll be 2 ways to, like, you know, build to get up to the top of these cliffs. And there'll be some, like, little ruins here just to be, like, you know, to sort of indicate that you might want to add onto these ruins in order to get up. Because this is sort of like a one-way drop down, right? Because this is like an X join. You could approach here from any of these sides, but then once you drop down, you'd have to build to get your way back up. Actually, let's just quickly copy one of these entrance pieces first. turn off all that stuff to make stuff a little bit easier for myself. Okay. It's definitely a bit of an art trying to get all these cliff pieces just like perfectly blend into each other. It's like the hard part of using like a tiny amount of assets like I was talking about before. It's like it's really efficient and like it can speed up development in some ways, but it can also just make like the skill in placing stuff like much more difficult. Like you sort of got to be like a professional cliff placer in order to place good looking cliffs. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's hard to make these like different cells approachable from every single angle, because this one's like an X cross, so I've got to make sure that it has like an entrance on every single side, and the entrances all have to be like the perfect height and everything, so it's makes things interesting. do this little part. It's gonna be interesting. It's the same as that, right? Because I want to try and make this sort of like ramp down. But I need to make it look all nice and like smooth and work with these cliff pieces, which is not too easy. Hey, you guys are just watching me place rocks. It's definitely not incredibly interesting, or maybe it's a little bit interesting for some people. I don't know. But look, this is a part of game development you got to do. Just placing rocks for hours and hours. I'm not gonna lie to you and pretend this doesn't. This isn't a significant part of Lens Island because it definitely is. Cool, got a bit more of a smoother ramp. So here's our little build challenge thing. I'm gonna delete all these cliffs, redo them. But sort of one-way drop-off area as one of the chunks. It's a X join, so you can actually approach it from any side, but the camera angle is going to be limited to that angle and that angle, so you can always like sort of see clearly down into like the little divot area. I'll do like a really quick first pass at these cliffs here. Oh, sorry, let me have a look at chat. I missed it for a little while. What do we got? Oh yeah, what you're talking about, movie with like the what that's called is like, yeah, like LOD systems, like level of detail. So that happens anyway. They both happen at the same time. So usually it's like, you know, like game optimization. You have to do like a whole bunch of different things. I should probably change the scene. Sorry, I had the wrong game view on. Yeah, like you have to optimize a whole bunch of different areas. You can never like, one is never enough to make it suddenly work. How many total staff do you all have? I know they all focus. So I think in total we have around 8 people. They're like it'll be like so seven of those 8 people are like full-time developers that only work on Lens Island, and then there's 2 others, like Lars, who does all the audio, like the music you can listen to right now, and Daniel, who does all the artwork, and they're sort of part-time. They just work like Lars works a couple days a week. So it's more or less like 8 people. Right now we're only working on Lens Island, but like I've already started working on like a little side project. Actually, myself and our lead programmer has started working on a little side project, just like occasionally, but we haven't really worked on it much lately. But we'd have some ideas for what we're going to do after Lens Island, though. Pets only going to be fun for. I'm not sure about combat pets. We definitely could add them in the future. I would like to. Like the short answer is like I'd love to add combat pets. So like hopefully. Yeah, Michael, there's going to be heaps. There's going to be a lot of areas like that, Michael, with like special build areas. And so I'll quickly, for example, if I just save this. Like some of these, for example, like, this, like all of these are just like white box basic, things, so take them with a grain of salt. But like this one here, it's like you're gonna have to actually build a boat to sail across to get, the loot and stuff. Otherwise, I think you could build foundations and stuff as well. So there's some challenges where you like need like a literal boat to get across, and then some you'll have to build to get up cliffs and go to, like you have to build like a up side of a cliff to get to a special area. Some will have like there'll be some enemies, but not too many in this sort of cave area. Most of it's like building challenges and like fun little like other sorts of different challenges that you haven't really needed to do a lot before on Lens Island that are quite interesting. But yeah, building will definitely be like a significant part of these new cave system. All right, let's go. Yeah, so I'll just do a quick first pass of these cliffs and we'll start on the next cell. I'm just trying to get like the overall super basic structures at the moment for these different cells, just to make sure that like everything is sort of like looking the way that I was hoping it to look. It's a massive pain that the world generation is currently broken. I've got some sort of bug with it, so I don't think I can test these all too well today. So we'll just have to do what we can do. Good. Like I said, it's an art form placing these cliffs. Because it's just the one cliff piece over and over and over and over. And I've just got to try and make it not look like it's repeating. Like there's some little, like this little triangle and like some little parts of it that's sort of a bit more obvious when they repeat. So I gotta try to, mask those areas and hide it a little bit. just do this side, and that'll be enough for now. And we'll get back to the other bits and pieces. Is anyone from UK or Europe still watching? That's crazy. It would be like 2, 3 a.m. for you guys right now. You should go to bed. Oh, I don't mind that popping through that side. Looks a little bit weird. What if I extend this out a little bit? Yeah, I don't mind that. I guess this can be a little jump gap if you want to be a parkour person. You can just jump across there instead of having to build down back up. Cool. Alright, I like the overall design of that cave rock. 2 a.m. movie. Oh man, naughty naughty. Is the dungeon crawling a static power curve of them, or you can delve further? Yeah, so like the dungeon crawling where we're introducing like cursed mode for all the dungeons. So like this is all like the procedural cave network. It's just sort of like the easy, much easier like combat side. Like there's not going to be too much combat down here. A lot of it's going to be like puzzles and building challenges and resources and stuff. And then there's the normal dungeons. And then in this update we're introducing cursed dungeons where you can curse a dungeon and sort of turn it into like hardcore mode. So I guess Lens Island will have like three definitive like difficulty levels in Lens Island. Sort of like dungeon crawling will be in this update. It'll be like, but right now it's just sort of like normal slash slightly hard. But then after this update there'll be like easy, normal, like hard, which it gives you a bit more like sort of freedom. Yeah, like it's unfortunate because like a lot of level design tools like display like placing objects along splines or like randomized groups and things like that. Even using tools like Houdini to like automatically do stuff based on geometry, where there's like crevices, like place rock piles and stuff. Because of like our asset workflow, for example, like building out these cliffs, there is no way in hell an algorithm is going to place these cliffs to look like this good. Like if I just like draw a spline and it automatically like rotates all these cliffs, like it's just going to be like, oh, there you go, like I placed all the cliffs and it's just going to look terrible. So it's quite difficult. It's just like very labor intensive because I have to like perfectly do everything. But like that is also like what I like doing. Like I really enjoy making handmade levels that look like they're made by a real person, that have that little sort of like extra chef's kiss, like level of detail applied to them that you just don't really get from randomly distributing objects. It's labor intensive, it takes a fair bit of time, but like I'm okay with that. Like I enjoy doing it. For me, it's worth it. Like the benefits you get from having hand built components of a world is just like, there's just sort of, yeah, there's no substitute, Okay, I'm probably just gonna I don't know if I should just rebuild most of this level. I got an idea. Alright, cool. We're back to square one. Now let's rebuild this stuff. Oh, this is a T-join. Yeah. Yeah, right, the other one I just did was an X-join. So, we need a join there. We need a join here. And then we need to join here. Cool. Cool. Little ramp. I'll steal one of these ramps again. I like the idea of having like a heightened section, so maybe we'll do that here. And then all of this area can be higher up. Different design or prefabs. Oh yeah, like yeah, it's like the overall goal of what I'm doing right now, Joshua, is we have like a whole bunch of these really basic like white box cave cells built out at the moment for the game. So for this procedural cave system, it's made up of all these little chunks, and they're all different sort of different types of tiles. So these are entrance tiles that are sort of X's. These are sort of straight, so they connect just in 2 points. These are T-joins that connect in 3, X's connect in 4, and then these are like bends that connect on like the 2 corners. So you can see I just have like these really basic shapes at the moment. We've built some more complicated tiles and things, but we have like, these are just sort of half the tiles are built. We've built even more. And these are like, as the procedural cave system gets deeper, like the algorithm sort of connects these big networks of caves and sort of goes from what is level 0 here to level 1, then to level 2 and level 3. So I'm just sort of building out, we've done like a first pass, and then I'm sort of going back over the first pass of these tiles, and then sort of cleaning them up and making them really nice and like all the geometry really nice and clean, but I'm sort of turning off everything, and I'm just trying to get like the forms. Like all I'm really focusing on right now is getting really nice forms for tiles. So for example, if I start connecting all these together, and sort of like snapping them around, like how does it all look, and like does it feel like a natural cave network if I sort of start going like this and then joining all these tiles and seeing how they all merge and sort of become like bigger cave networks, because then naturally like these tiles are going to be connecting, so like stuff like this, like oh okay, I'm gonna have to think about how we join the dirt to the stone here, because maybe get some weird seams. So I'm just like sort of just building up the basic structure of these tiles and how they're sort of going to connect throughout the whole cave. So it's just like sort of like the second early pass at the moment still, and I've just misorganized all my tiles, so I'm gonna move them all back. First early pass, and then, well, I guess like second early pass, and then I'll be going back through these and then starting to do more like set dressing. So this has like a super basic set dressing, and like it's got some rocks and some cliffs, but then I'll be going back over and then placing like the interactable items, and then verticality comes after that. You can see all of these are really flat. Naturally, the level 0 dirt ones are going to be a fair bit more flat, and then as we go deeper throughout the levels, we'll start introducing more and more verticality, like progressively. So then when you get to the tiles that are maybe you find titanium or lightstone on, there'll be a lot of verticality, and you'll have to constantly sort of like build to get up and down areas and build walkways, and it feels like you have to really sort of like conquer the caves, like just traversing the caves and walking from A to B is like an effort. Whereas like at the start of the caves, it's relatively easy to traverse the caves, and it just progressively gets harder and harder. So we'll into like this is like where I'm just starting to introduce a little bit of verticality in these sorts of tiles, and then we'll progressively do more and more and add like bodies of water and add just like lots of interesting sort of hazards and stuff like that. But everything's gonna look really basic right now and like simple. And I'm really just focusing on like mainly like the top-down form and how they all generally connect and how they sort of feel. And then I'll be going back through all of these and then starting to like properly build them. So yeah, just basic stuff at the moment. Nothing too crazy. Oh, whoops, turn that off. No. Okay, we're off Lens Island now, so I'm gonna get like some sort of copyright strike. Let's go back to what was the second soundtrack? This one. Cool. Yeah, there will be stalagmites. We won't be doing too many stalactites. Like at least from the ceiling. Like they'll be like hanging off the tops of cliffs and stuff. But there will be like tons of stalagmites, and they'll sort of like progressively become more. So like imagine the caves as like a spectrum where it's like, oh yeah, you'll see some in this. This is like an early version of like they're like an old thing here. But imagine the cases that progressively become more spiky and more just like treacherous and more stuff like this throughout them as you go deeper. But yeah, I'm sort of just like working over the top of an old cave layout right now, and I'm sort of rebuilding it just to sort of clean it up a little bit, and I'll basically just be like remaking it from the ground up. Because like the original layout was just like an early white box, and then we're like, cool, we generally like the idea of this, and it seems to work well. So then now it's like on to like okay, now let's build a proper polished version of this layout. It's pretty much what I'm doing everywhere at the moment. It's just placing rocks and just trying to like construct like a really good foundation for all these sort of caves. So this one's definitely going to be a bit of a bigger open area, this cell, which is going to be really good for building as well. Like there's going to be sort of like different benefits to a lot of these different cave areas. Some of them are just like naturally going to be harder to build on and have some more like rough terrain. Some of them are going to be easier to build on, like this one here, decently large area. Maybe you could end up building a house here or something. Turn that off now, getting a bit confusing. How did we have it joining before? Oh, there's like a gap through there. Yeah, I'll keep that gap. Do it like this. I'm actually just putting these in here because I'm just imagining if you're playing from this angle. What I don't want is for this to look like there's like an overlap there and they join, even though there's actual gap that you could fall down. So I need to make sure that there's like at least some negative space there from every single camera angle, because this cell could be rotated at any way. So just want to make sure that it's I even just be a little bit more generous with that angle there, just to make sure. Alright. Nice and basic. It's like really is like a super basic one here, but I don't like the way that sort of joins in there. I have to just clean that up. There we go. Because this is just a generic T-joint, nothing too special for this one. Alright, I like that form. I think that works. Oops. All your devlogs are perfect evidence to back up an R&D. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of R&D, research and development when it comes to Lens Island. But yeah, no, R&D tax offsets are nice, that's for sure. All of the paperwork to actually do them isn't that nice though. Cool. I like those I like the forms of these three cells. Like they feel like really nice and like natural. I might just see how they. I might just drag them over here, and I'm just going to start to see how they all sort of fit together. Yeah, like even like that, like you can barely. Yeah, that's cool. I really like this. I really like how you get like naturally like these different plateaus emerging. Like we have this higher shelf up here, and it ramps down to here, but then it curves across into this shelf, and then it goes down again. Like you would never know that there is a seam between two tiles right there. Like it sort of feels like it carries it across. So that's really good to know. Well, even here, like we got, I guess, really lucky here, because like that's the edge, like that's the end of a tile, but then this one steps up straight away, so it just like continues the ramp. Man, yeah, I guess I got really lucky with how these tiles connect. It just looks like one nice sort of continuous area. The main thing is with the dirt, because all of these are going to be joining to dirt areas, right? So there's going to be some sort of join everywhere. So that's an X1. This is a T. And that's a straight. I believe. Ugh. I hope I got that right. Actually, let me drag them back. I feel like I forgot one of these was a straight, to be completely honest. This one's a straight. This one here. Oh no, that makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't... Oh, yeah, no, I totally did, because I made a join here when there shouldn't be a join here. I did forget this was a straight. Yeah. Yeah, there doesn't need to be a join. I could literally just delete that. There you go. That solves that problem. Yeah, I'm really liking how these are connecting to each other. The dirt is a different story though, so let's just get a couple dirt pieces and just sort of connect them together and then start to see. So this is a straight, so it could connect like this. It's like, that's not a bad seam. It's relatively clean through that seam there. Like one thing I could potentially do is make it so all of the stone ones, like their sort of like baseline level is like the tiniest bit. Whoops, let's turn off that. It's like the tiniest bit lower. So then it sort of looks like the dirt sort of like naturally goes, I don't know, it sort of overflows onto the stone. Like I'll get slightly nicer blends. I could maybe do that. So how, if I just go back into snap mode, let's just like see what all these... Yeah, because like I don't like this jaggedness. Like this looks fine when you're blending two of the same... Like that's really gross. This looks fine when you're blending two of the same thing together. But then when it's different, it does not work. Let me just quickly see how these other ones look. I'm thinking that might be the best thing to do. Is like I basically, the baseline 0 for all the cliffs, just for like iron, and I guess maybe future cells as well, is just like a tiny bit lower. So it ends up looking like this, and it sort of looks like the dirt is sort of like overflowing and like sort of cascading onto the to the stone, which I guess makes like practical sense. I got luck. Oh, I got lucky with a bend there because there's a ramp. Yeah. Yeah, see, like that looks really okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Let's quickly do that and then see how all these joins look. Should be pretty easy. Like I'll basically just be going in and just moving everything down, just the tiniest little bit. What is the baseline value that I'm using? Nothing really. nothing too set in concrete by the sounds of it, or by the looks of it. Where's all my rocks? Where's all my cliffs? Oh, I've got them in the wrong folder. Whoops. Okay. So let's select all them. Actually, let's do this the smart way. And then just deselect that. Is that everything? Yeah. Okay, so let's move this down. The tiniest little bit. I feel like even maybe that was too much. Yeah, we'll see. This is not like, it's like changes like this that you have to work out whenever you're building really big tile sets and stuff like this for games, like designing large levels. You have to work out little rules like this ASAP. You have to work them out so quickly because you don't want to have to like realize that you have like a fundamental problem with the way that you're designing something after you've already made 100 levels, and then you have to go back and change 100 levels. These generally look like, I think there's like a ramp on this one, so it's a little bit harder to... Nah, it needs to go lower. Yeah, it needs to go even lower, I think. That's not enough. Cool. Ah, I've got magnet on. Let's try that. I hate just like doing things by eye, but I can't just type in a number and do something more definitive. Like I have to do it by eye. Yeah, like, that's pretty good. How does it look for the other joins? Let's turn our magnet back on now. We don't have a join there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that overlapping a little bit. That join's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with that overlapping. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty much what we wanted, right? That's got a ramp, so it makes sense that that's a little bit higher. That overflows just a little bit. But generally, like, all of these joins now are clean. Like, we've got clean lines, you know, like that. And not like these weird, gross, jagged edges like we had before. I don't love that blend there. because it goes from like something skinny to sort of like wide, but it's not too bad. I think it's probably as good as we're going to get it, realistically. So, yeah. Okay, so what did I land on for the height for our default? Negative 9.08. So I just need to make sure that I get all of these other cliffs, the cliffs that I placed at the start, to around as close as possible to negative 9.08. Currently they're sitting at negative 8.89. Okay. Oh man, it's just I keep forgetting that magnet's on every time. Okay, a little bit more. I hate doing stuff like I like this. I know I said it, but it's so gross. But 9.08. Okay, we've got 0.3 to go. This is gonna be really difficult. I'm gonna have to zoom like right in. I'm like trying to move my mouse like the tiniest little increment. Oh, that feels good. Look at that. Look at that number. That's a 9.08 on the dot. I don't know if I just need to do that one more time and then we're good, because now we can just like use this as our new template for all the other ones. Okay, so these two are done, and now we just got to move this one down. We haven't done any rocks for this one, have we? No. Imagine if I got it first go. Oh, floating point error to 9.06. Lame. Okay. I'm trying so hard to move my mouse. So, 9.08. Yeah. This is like such developer things to be like happy about. Like, it's the most obscure thing ever. That only like, I guess, you know, game developers or like people working with like programs like this, you know, would care about like getting some stupid number perfect. Also catch up with some comments. Another question about the chunks. It's better to have more chunks. Smaller, or less set it bigger. It depends, Moofy. Like generally, if you know, let's say you're playing Minecraft and Minecraft's chunks are 16 by 16, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure they are. If you have fewer chunks, then like consider like you're having like a lot more like, sorry, if you have smaller chunks, you're having a lot more like loads, like incremental, like, you know, times where things are loading in and out, and that's happening much more quickly. So every time the player moves, instead of loading like 5 new chunks, maybe, you know, because the chunks are smaller, you've now hit the boundary to load like 20 chunks. So it's like sort of like a tug of war between like what's better, like loading, you know, more things or loading less things versus having more things currently loaded or less things currently loaded. It's sort of like a weird tug of war. There's no real like proper answer, but it's like a balance in between the two. We've also building connector tiles that give the ability to connect any future built dirt tiles. Yeah, we did think about like having like bridging tiles. I think it just like exponentially grew the amount of tiles you have to build so much, because it would have to be a connecting tile realistically between almost all biome shifts, and all the different possibilities of tiles that they could be sort of structured in. So it pretty much just doubles the amount of tiles you have to build, and we already have to build, you know, like 50 odd tiles. So yeah, like I would love to try to do it without any connecting tiles. That'd be the most optimal. Yeah, like technically speaking, yeah, I totally could just increment everything by like the amount, but then they're all different positions, right? So there's like no easy, like quick and easy way to do that, because if I like click on this cliff, you can see its Y value is like minus, you know, 8.25, but then like this one is -7 and this one is -9.8. So like I was just clicking on the ones that I know that I placed first at the perfect height because they all match, but then all the other ones are out at all different heights, so nothing matches. So I just have to grab all of it and then try to like, you could see all their positions are like, you know, different. They're not matching. So I'd have to just go through all of them and like add it all together. Cool. Alright, we got our basic 3 tiles. Now we're going to do a little corner. A corner and then an end. Let's quickly drag these ends across. Yeah, for the corner. No, honestly, I don't mind this corner. Just like a little cut through. This one is cool though. Like just seeing this. It's definitely harder to work with the camera angles. Like this one's one that would work. You can make this work with 3 camera angles, just not that one. I think everything besides like that one works, and then that one works. I would delete this front cliff though. I would like all of this would like basically lower down, or just be deleted, and it'll just be like this. I think that's maybe more of a special tile. What I'm thinking is this one, I'll make like the more generic one. And I'm thinking I might make like a large area, like a large sort of building zone here, or a large mining zone that sort of billows out. I'll copy one of our end tiles here. Beautiful. Just turn that off. Yeah, so I got to get a corner that goes from there to here. My idea being, what if we make this corner sort of really like cut the edge through here? Okay. So we've got a corner that sort of like cuts through, and then maybe we have some sort of like the main part is actually sort of like basically an island offloading here, and there's some sort of building challenge, something to sort of get across. Like I think we add. Is it this? Yeah. Have one of these like spike zones, right? Where it's like you can build sort of. You can't walk down here as a player. This is like a temporary asset. It's like a little placeholder, sort of spike pit thingy. But like you can build here, but then you can't like walk here. So then like the idea being, there is like this large area on the other side, but you have to build to get across to it. I don't know if this should just, because we're going to be introducing like rare fishing pools and like quite bespoke interesting things down here, but I am just building like a basic tile now, so I sort of don't want to put anything too special in this tile, because this tile is going to be like relatively common, because some of these tiles can spawn, you know, more than once. So I'm thinking I might just keep this like basically a big circle, just like. Maybe the appeal is more the fact that it just is such a large area that you could build like a sizable, you know, house or like something down here in this area. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool. I'm gonna quickly see how this is connecting with everything. I'm a bit skeptical that it'll connect nicely, but we'll see. Do you have a dedicated 3D modeler? I'm the main artist for the whole project. I like UI, 3D, everything, level design, world building. But then we have another 3D artist, Jake, but he just works like a couple days a week, and he hasn't been working for us for the past like year. He only like just in the past couple of weeks came back on board for like a couple days. But I sort of do everything as far as art for the game. Yeah. Most of our team is programmers, and just like people that do like odd jobs, but the majority of the team's programmers. Alright, let's see how this fits in. I don't mind that join. It's not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's not meant to join any other side. Let's just rotate it. That's good. That's pretty good. Yeah. I don't mind that. How's it look with the other stone pieces? Oh, I don't think I rotated that. There we go. I don't mind like a sort of little windy road there. That one will go like that. Or it could go like that. That one's good. That's definitely like the nicest one. It looks good on that one too. Okay, I actually quite like the way that looks. The only slight thing I'm like a little bit worried about is like I think it's going to be quite obvious when this one repeats. For example, if like, you know, if you have two like side by side, like see how like obvious that shape is. That's the only thing I'm slightly worried about is like if you just got, you know, lucky and there's like a cell, one there and one there, it's like very obvious that it's sort of the same cell repeated. There's not a whole lot I can do to do that though. Like naturally, if we have large areas, they're just going to be very visible. I think one thing we could potentially do is like keep the large area, but then have like some little obstacles in it, like, you know, have some little rock piles and things, and maybe like from like the mini map point of view and stuff, it just sort of breaks up the space a little bit and just seems a little bit different. Or maybe we just like spawn this tile a little bit less. We just turn down the ratio on it. Cool. So then, I guess now up to like a second set of like tiles. I think this one we could probably make work of every angle, because even though the water's obscured, it's sort of like a void, like it's negative space. It's obscured by the cliff, like it is just water. So I don't think it's a big deal. So when I think about it, like every angle sort of does work. I think this would be a cool, because this one looks very different. Like it just looks sort of different from every angle. So I think this one could be a cool second one. So that's going to be the second generic one for the, what is this, an X? I don't know what, I think it's an X. We've got straight, yeah, X, X, and that's T. I guess we should have some little one like this as well for a straight. Some just like sort of more thin one that's a little bit more basic. For a T, I'd love to have like a floating island one that's a bit more like this. Where it's like you really have to, like, there's like a lot of these like little walkways going across, so you're gonna have to build across or something like that. Maybe something more along the lines of this. It's like the cell feels very fragmented, and it's like quite hard to sort of get around. I'm thinking something like that. I do really like this cell here, but that's totally gonna be like a unique one sort of thing. As for the turns, I do like this one too. Because this one, oh, it's possible. It's possible that I could maybe make this work with 2 camera angles, or yeah, 2. If I deleted these front cliffs and I just like changed this area, basically got rid of that little pocket there, and just made it that area, then it could work from this angle, and it could work from this angle. It's definitely not going to work from that angle or that angle though. I'm not sure for the turn. Turn's a difficult one. I could also do like a little enemy encounter for one of the turns. Like something like that, if I was to chop off that. Oh, I sort of prefer that. I don't mind that. If I was to... What way did these turn? Like, if this was to basically go that way. Then I chop off this arm here. I sort of like that. I'm just going to delete that now so I sort of remember. Oh, whoops, I'd actually be doing it the other way around. It'd be like that. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, that's cool. Good night, Joshua. Thanks for coming in. Alright. So I'm just thinking, I'm just gonna... Oh, I think I definitely need to go to the toilet and get a drink of water and stuff. So I might take a little break for a second. I'm just making a little Photoshop document to chuck up on my screen here. Alright. Alright, give me 1 second. Oh! I was gonna quickly just go to the toilet and like get a drink and stuff like that. I'll be back in a little bit. Yo, we're back. Oh, thanks, Justin. Hoping I get promoted by the boss, you know. Yeah, I'm thinking I think I might get properly like stretch my legs, take a bit of a break, just 'cause I've been sitting down for a few hours now, get a bit stiff. So yeah, I think probably end up ending the stream here, and then I'll dig back into work in like an hour from now and smash some stuff out. Thanks for coming along, everybody, though. Sorry it wasn't more like thrilling with super fun level design stuff. I know it was just me basically placing rocks and just like testing modular sort of stuff. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, just slowly chipping away at this. It's going to be like a very big task, so just trying to get some stuff done. But yeah, we're getting there. Lots of fun stuff just beyond the horizon. So I guess before I head off, just a quick PSA. Like I talked about at the start of the stream, we've got a new dev diary up. Yeah, new dev diary up right here. Let me just pause this music. So if you want to vote for what you want to change in Lens Island, you can watch this, do a vote, because we've got a lot of like, actually let me just change my screens around. Let me just skip that. But yeah, so we've got like a new dev diary up where I'm basically asking some questions and going over some stuff that we might add to the game, or we will add to the game. So be sure to leave your votes there. We also just set up a Patreon, so if you want some early access to some alpha and beta builds of the game, you can get access to them here. I'll put it in US dollars. It's like $5 for like early beta builds. But then if we want to be in like a private dev chat with me and the other developers and sort of like talk to us a little bit more closely and get access to alpha builds where the game's totally broken, but you get access to it like a lot sooner, that's what you would do this Council of Len 1 for. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, everybody. You can keep up to date with that stuff. I'll be doing another stream in another, probably like sometime next week or this coming week. And yeah, we're just hustling. We're just working on Lens Island. We've got a lot of really crazy stuff happening for this next update. So it's going to be a lot of work. So I'm going to be working pretty hard for next month just to sort of get everything done. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. It's been cool chatting to you all. And yeah, see you next time. Have a great day.